welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reviewing a fragrance I've had for quite a long time now, L'Artisan Parfumeur's Dzing. And if you live in the UK, you can probably find this at TK Maxx at the moment for a really cheap price. Unfortunately I'm stupid and didn't buy it at TK Maxx. I actually bought it in Florence, Italy at full price earlier on this year. And so, you know, lesson learned. A little bit of a story about me and Dzing. So the first time I tried Dzing was about 3 years ago now. It was during my first year of university. And the reason I was so desperate to try this fragrance is because I love the idea of a fragrance smelling like the circus. I love the book Stephen King's It, and it's a book that I read kind of every summer pretty much. And in the book, sorry I'm a little bit sniffly, fresh as flu. In the book, when the children see the clown Pennywise, they sometimes get like an aroma of the circus that surrounds the clown, but then it kind of turns bad and goes all, you know, the decaying smells of the long disappeared circus. And I love the idea, sorry, sirens. I love the idea of a fragrance smelling like a place rather than just like a fragrance. And so this was kind of an opening for me into the world of conceptual perfumes. Obviously I love Atali d'Orange's perfumes, I love niche perfumes, I love Lush's perfumes, and they're all quite conceptual. They, you know, they don't necessarily have to smell very good, it's more about the idea behind them. This one does smell quite good though. So when I first tried this, I was very torn between loving it and not liking it because it is a little bit of an unusual fragrance. I actually tried this for the first time about the same time I first tried Chinatown by Bond No. 9, which I did a review on a couple of weeks ago, because now I have a full size bottle of that as well. And when I first smelled Chinatown, I actually got a circus vibe from that as well, because it has, you know, such a mixture of different smells that I'm actually wearing that today. So yeah, it has such a, you know, mixture of different exotic smells, and I think it smells so beautiful. And for some reason in my head when I first smelled that, I associated it with circus. This one is much more of a literal circus smell. So I think the company's tried really hard actually to, you know, incorporate elements of the circus, good and bad. And before I go into the notes, people, when they're talking about this fragrance, there's a mixture of people.
Some people think that it smells like animal, elephant, dung, poo, things like that. I mean, there's certain elements of this fragrance that has that kind of stable vibe, maybe. And I think that when people smell hay, they kind of associate it with poo, basically animal poo. But there's actually no disgusting note in this at all. This actually contains leather, ginger, tonka bean, musk, white woods, caramel, saffron, toffee, candy apple and cotton candy. And now you're probably thinking that this is going to be a really, really sweet, overpowering, powder candy kind of fragrance with those notes. It's very well done. The sweet notes don't always come out as well. Sometimes I wear this and I get the sweet notes very strongly, and sometimes I absolutely do not. So I sprayed it 10 minutes ago now. And it's got a sweet tone to it. It's got a sweet kind of slightly caramelly undertone. I don't particularly get the cotton candy. Sometimes I get a bit of a nuttiness to this, which I suppose you could associate with the circus. I've never really been to the circus, so I can't really, you know, say anything about the circus. Well, everything I know about the circus is from Stephen King's It, basically. So you have this very sweetness with an underlying papery kind of note, like cardboard almost. Some people say pencil shavings. And this particular kind of leathery, cardboardy note, I think is very specific to this L'Artisan Parfumeur. Quite a few of their fragrances have this kind of undertone to it. It's a particular kind of leather. The way that they do leather is very distinctive. You can smell straight away if you're smelling a L'Artisan fragrance.
In the same way that Atelier d'Orange do their own type of leather, they have their own kind of leather note. Theirs is a little bit more of a plasticky, PVC kind of PVC. I don't know if that's the correct word. Like latexy kind of leathery note to it, a little bit plasticky. This one is more of the kind of pencil shavings. It's a little bit more dirty. It's a little bit more. Yeah, I always imagine Atelier d'Orange's fragrances have this kind of smooth, shiny, gothic kind of surface to them, whereas this one is like a worn, sweaty leather. But not entirely unpleasant. And again, you do get the hay, I think anyway. Maybe it's that wet cardboardy kind of smell that I associate with hay, and therefore I associate it with animals, and therefore I associate it with the circus. So I think this fragrance is just very suggestive. It's suggestive of the circus. It doesn't go too overboard. I recently purchased Deliria by the same company, L'Artisan, and that's another circus fragrance in my mind. It's the main notes in that, there's rum and there's bubble gum. It's actually a cotton candy note, but it actually smells like bubble gum. And there's a strange metallic note which I associate with blood. And so I mentioned that fragrance in one of my previous videos, maybe 3 videos back or something. And I said that reminds me of another Stephen King book. That reminds me of Joyland, which is about a murder that takes place at a carnival. This one's completely different to that, but again, it's the same kind of circus theme that's going on here, that I'm really fascinated by. Another association I make with this is one of my favourite films by Ingmar Bergman, the Swedish director. The English title is Sawdust and Tinsel, and it's a film from the early 50s about a circus troupe and kind of the affairs that go on within the circus troupe, and it's a very wonderful, powerful film. And I actually fell in love with this fragrance while watching that film. I wore this fragrance, and so now I kind of make the association with it that way as well. So there's a lot of associations going on, a lot of I'm sorry, I'm a pretentious perfume addict. So if we look at the bottle, it's the classic L'Artisan design. Some of the newer fragrances are in a more squat, kind of wider, shorter bottle. This classic long bottle, this is the 100ml. It also comes in 50ml, although it possibly discontinued now. They may only do it in the 100ml nowadays. They keep kind of discontinuing fragrances and then bringing them back by popular demand, but only doing 100ml bottles, so that's the thing. On the front we have Dzing, and then we have like a lady riding a tiger. And then on the back, I don't know if you can see, here it's written L'Artisan Parfumeur Paris, and then the top is the classic gold top. It's a very classic looking bottle. I love the L'Artisan bottles. I think they look very nice on the dresser. If you walk into a shop that sells L'Artisan, perfumes properly, and they have them all the testers lined out, it looks so beautiful. Like, I think it looks so wonderful. So yeah, other fragrances that I really love from L'Artisan, Timbuktu, which I've done a review of, I liked. I'm gonna really ruin this one. Mûr et Musc. No, Mûr et Musc. I don't know how you say that. That one I really like. Le Chase au Papillon I really like. Deliria I like. And More Nocturne I like. Tea for Two I really like. I think that's about it for the ones I'm really in love with. So yeah, I hope this review was helpful in some way, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.